The COVID-19 outbreak has a significant effect on business sectors, which maximizes the level of economic uncertainty, volatility, and instability. Every business across the globe is forced to change its business strategies to be able to gain competitiveness and survival in the age of new normal. Unfortunately, many small businesses need to use layoffs and closure approaches to cope with this crisis due to their financial fragility. Like other industries, banking industry has struggled to manage its revenues, customer demands and expectations, as well as formulating right strategies to ensure the continuity and progress for the present time and the future. Thai commercial banks have adapted their operations since the emergence of the age of new normal and digital disruption. During COVID-19 pandemic, Thai commercial banks have formulated and implemented new strategies to cope with this outbreak. Several fascinating strategies are initiated with the purpose to move the banking industry to ever-changing position. To explore what Thai commercial banks have been doing in times of crisis, this research topic, business strategies in the age of the new normal, how commercial banks in Thailand cope up with COVID-19 pandemic was studied. According to Bangkok Business, top 5 Thai banks in terms of assets are Bangkok Bank, Kasikorn Bank, Krung Thai Bank, Siam Commercial Bank, and Government Savings Bank. This article reviews only the three commercial banks, which are Bangkok Bank or BBL, Kasikorn Bank or KBANK, and Siam Commercial Bank or SCB. Krung Thai Bank and Government Savings Bank were excluded due to the limitation of disclosure information. To examine the differences in these three Thai commercial banks before the massive outbreak in Thailand in 2020, the comparison on financial and statistical data in terms of assets, liabilities, revenue, net profit margin, and market capitalization for the year of 2019 and 2020 were introduced. Information was mainly retrieved from Stock Exchange of Thailand or SET. Table 1 demonstrated some significant differences between the year of 2019 and 2020. SCB had the largest market capitalization among three commercial banks, but significantly shrunk in 2020. As shown, three banks' revenues and the net profit margin significantly declined after the outbreak of COVID-19 in 2020. During the outbreak from 2020 to the first quarter of 2021, BBL demonstrated the largest number of assets, while KBank displayed the highest revenue and net profit margin in year-end 2020. Apparently, the business situation of these three banks had recovered after the second wave of the outbreak. The healthier financial and statistical data in the first quarter implied the adaptation of business strategies during COVID-19 pandemic. However, the third wave outbreak has emerged in May, in which the financial report of this company has not yet been released. This issue is one of the limitations of this article and needs to update in the next paper. Based on systematic reviews, this article found plenty of information relating to these commercial banks' adaptation and strategy formulation in times of COVID-19 disease. These evidences were synthesized, analyzed, and summarized to identify key business strategies of each commercial bank. Information about business strategies of these three commercial banks was run by the rank of asset value of the bank, which was BBL, KBank, and SCB respectively. Regarding BBL, the major strength of BBL is to have extensive international branch network across the world, which can be considered as one of its core business strategies. In 2020, BBL had emerged Permata Bank from Indonesia as part of its business model and strategy. which led BBL to become the sixth largest bank in Southeast Asia in terms of assets. In addition, the bank had reserved an expected credit loss of 31.1 billion baht, resulting the allowance for credit loss to impairment at 181.6%. This specific measure was developed to support the uncertainty of the economic retrenchment caused by COVID-19 epidemic. The core strategy of the bank in times of crisis was the adherence to its guidelines for conducting business with caution and prudence together with sustaining a robust financial position, liquidity, and capital funds. This strategy aimed to maintain sustainable financial stability and prepare business operations in an age of new normal. In the past year, BBL has developed its technology system, especially blockchain technology, to support customers who trade with business partners around the world and to be able to conduct financial transactions conveniently and safely. Besides, the bank also has placed an emphasis on the importance of cash management service, which helps support connection to systems of customers and partners, increasing the more efficiency of customers and partners' business operations. These commercial banks also established the collaboration with modern trade companies and convenience stores like Tesco, Lotus, and 7-Eleven to provide a banking agent service to facilitate customers to do transactions at the expedient area after bank operating hours. Like the other commercial banks, digital transformation has been contained as an ongoing plan and strategy to help transform the bank to the digital banking architecture. Banking digital transformation encompasses in four dimensions: development of the technological system infrastructure, development of digital architecture and ecosystem, data security, and research and development to enhance the ability for data analytics. Besides, another bank strategy was financial support for a group of businesses and customers. The CEO of BBL addressed that the financial assistance for small and medium businesses as well as large ones should be considered in three phases. Phase 1, business support by providing the short-term liquidity to help businesses get through this crisis. Phase 2, business recovery by lending evolving funds or working capital for business. And Phase 3, business model adjustment by offering valuable advice, tools, resources to cope with the new business environment post-COVID-19. For KBank's top manager view that 3 Ps including profit, people, and planet would be emphasized, as well as 2 Ms encompassing make change and make it happen. Understanding change of marketing and customer behaviors after the COVID-19 occurrence and the post-COVID-19 are essential. The use of product, price, place, promotion, people, and productivity would help respond to the changes. The management team of KBank strongly believes that banking services still needs a human-based strategy due to the continuous change of customers in which AI or artificial intelligence cannot run all aspects of these distinctive behaviors. Among 19,000 employees needed to do both upskill and reskill, while the adjacent local branches had to be acquired to minimize the operating cost. To remain the business, the key strategy of this bank was to ensure that businesses under bank's lending must survive. COVID-19 pandemic has largely affected the bank loan portfolio, as hotel loans currently accounted for 12.1% of the total loan portfolio. In addition, this crisis is different from the previous crisis 20 years ago, which was a financial crisis. But this time, a small debt, SMEs, and houses were major debts, which was difficult to write off. However, KBank attempted to control these mortgages and NPL on non-performing loan not to exceed 4%. In terms of KBANK's business strategy, the bank has reviewed its business strategy plan to reflect the age of new normal and continue to operate on the sustainability principle with a customer centricity and aim to empower every group of business and customers through key business strategies, such as developing strategies for business growth and meet customer needs, building a strong trusted brand through communicating and managing the experiences that all stakeholders gain from doing business with banks, and enhancing long-term competitiveness based on the bank's transformation projects. The last bank is SCB. SCB has made effective tools to raise funds and protect its business from crises, such as the high establishment of bank capital reserve in the past year. Also, the accumulative mutual funds of this bank remained at a high level of 18.1%, which could secure the bank for a long term and during the pandemic. In addition, the key practice of this year was to reduce its operation costs to continuously make profits. The bank introduced new business tool called Wealth Business, which initially generated incomes from the investment of high-income customers and cost control. Also, the creation of digital technology and transformation as well as organizational restructuring were conducted as ongoing strategies to not only benefit the bank during the crisis, but also in the age of new normal. This study found that these three commercial banks utilize similar strategies for gaining stability, competitiveness, and survival in the age of the new normal and in times of COVID-19 pandemic. Focusing on changes of customer behavior is a key area that our commercial banks attempted to formulate strategies to meet new demands of customers. Financial support and assistance for small debt and SME businesses was included as part of these commercial bank strategies, as they realized that if this group of business could not stay alive, the banks would be heavily affected by the financial loss and ruin long-term liquidity and credibility of the banks. Also, digital transformation has been developed as one of core strategies among these commercial banks to cope up with the age of the new normal, such as cashless society, digital banking, and blockchain business. Apparently, each commercial bank strategy during COVID-19 pandemic were applicable and effective enough to raise bank performance to the healthier level in the first quarter of 2021. Nonetheless, this number was reported before the third wave outbreak in April, which may cause some significant change in their performance. Therefore, the recommendation for the next study is to investigate these three commercial banks' performances after the third wave outbreak of COVID-19. Moreover, the inclusion of other commercial banks in Thailand for analysis is strongly recommended. Thank you for your listening. I'm Pinya Matanaru from Rajamangala University of Technology, Phra, Nakhon.